What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Eli. I'm a fourth year dental student at Boston University Goldman School of Dental Medicine. On this channel, I make dental school vlogs as well as videos with advice for pre-dental students. Today we have somewhat of a continuation from a video that we made just about 4 years ago now. Yeah. So this is my classmate, Iman. You guys have seen him before in the Navy HPSP video that we did along with Ben and Liam in our D1 year. Wanted to make a follow-up to that video now that we're fourth years and we are 43, I believe, days away from graduation.
Wow.
A lot of people when it comes to these scholarships, whether it be HPSP or NHSC scholarship, they wonder a lot about the post-grad opportunities, how they are or are not limited in what they can do after graduation, the commitment that they have after graduation if they are fortunate enough to receive one of these scholarships. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that as well as Iman's post-grad plans and kind of how he navigated figuring out what he wanted to do upon graduation. So before we get started, just for the people that may not have watched the first video, you can introduce yourself and just briefly explain what the HPSP scholarship is.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. So my name is Iman, like Eli said, fourth year at Boston University Dental School. Before I entered dental school, I was very fortunate to be accepted and offered for the Navy HPSP scholarship. HPSP stands for Health Professional Scholar. Actually, I don't even know what it stands for. It's bad.
I think it's like Health Professional.
Yeah, but it's basically,
program.
So the scheme of the scholarship is that they will provide the funds to put you through dental school or medical school, etc. And then you owe an obligation of service back to the Navy or any military branch, in my case, as a dentist. So, for example, they paid me 4 years of school, and then I have a 4-year commitment to work as a dentist with the Navy. There are other structures like 3 years, 2 years, etc. But essentially the idea is that you pay back 1 year per 1 year that they provide you the funding for school. And it's useful because not only do they provide the funding for school, but they also provide you a stipend every month to help you with living expenses as well. So that's the general idea of the scholarship. And yeah, let's see what else. Yeah.
Cool. So that's a brief overview of the scholarship. If you want more details about the scholarship, you can definitely check out the video that we made during first year. It'll be up here.
Yeah,
it's going to be one of the corners. I still haven't figured it out because I always point in one, and when I edit the video, but it'll be up there, and you can get a much more detailed explanation of the Navy, just the HPSP scholarship in general. As Iman mentioned, you can choose any one of the armed forces, so it doesn't have to be Navy. It can be Navy, Army, or Air Force. I don't know about Marines.
Well, Marines is under the Navy, so actually next year I will be at a Marine base.
There you go.
But it's still a Navy scholarship.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, yeah, again, like I said, more detailed explanation there. This video is going to focus more on postgraduate options if you are an HPSP scholarship recipient. I know that a lot of people are concerned about what they can and cannot do immediately after graduation if they are one of the recipients of the scholarship. And so what better way to explain it than to have someone who just recently went through that process of figuring out what to do, has figured out what he's going to do, and I'm sure he's a lot more knowledgeable about the topic than I would be. So one of the first questions, we're going to just have Iman explain what he is doing upon graduation, because I know you guys probably saw him in the match day video, but if not.
Yeah. So upon graduation, I applied to do an AHD, which is a 1-year general dentistry residency. So I've been fortunate to receive my location, which is at Camp Pendleton, which is in Southern California. Like I just mentioned, it's a Marine base, but it's still under the Navy. And so I'll be doing my 1-year residency, and then I'll be continuing on to 4 years of payback with the Navy at the completion of that 1-year residency.
Okay. So to clarify something, your residency does not count towards your years of service towards the military?
That's correct. So what they do, they call it a neutral year, because with that residency, you don't incur another year of payback. So it doesn't become a 5-year commitment, but it also doesn't take away a year from the 4. So you can basically treat that 1 year of residency as just sandwiched in between your 4 years of school and your 4 years of payback, with no adding or subtracting.
Okay, so during this neutral year, What are the limitations as far as what residencies you can do? Does it have to be AGD? Can it be GPR? Can it be anything that's a 1-year residency? How does that work?
So basically, the common pathway is to enter the military service as a general dentist, and you have three options. You have the GPR and the AGD, which are both general dentistry residencies that are 1 year. The main difference is that the GPR is hospital-based, and it may have some other components that are more like, like hospital things. Like there's like medical parts, I'm not exactly sure. But essentially, they're both general dentistry residencies that are 1 year long. If you decline to take one of those residencies, you have what's called a credentialing tour. So this is not a neutral year. This is one of your 4 years of payback. So you would do your 1 year credentialing tour and then have 3 years of payback after that if you're on the 4-year scholarship. The only difference with that credentialing tour is that you don't have the residency, so you don't get that certificate at the end. You will most likely be placed at a different set of bases than I've been. Like the options were different for the two. But so yeah, I mean, and we can discuss it more in the video, the pros and cons of taking the residency or not. I chose that the pros for taking the residency were good for me. But those are the three common pathways: AGD, GPR, or credentialing tour. Now, there is someone I do know that went to school at Harvard, and he is going right to prosthodontic residency.
Okay.
So he is not entering as a general dentist in one of those three options. However, that's a little bit more involved. I'm not too familiar with the process because I obviously didn't do that, and it probably takes some more like pre-planning and being proactive, and I think he shadowed at bases before, like in earlier years of dental school. So if you had questions about that, I'm not sure I can answer so much on it. I just know that that is a possibility. It's not very common. But that is, if you really were after it and you're on top of it, that's probably something you could pursue as well.
And I just thought of it. I don't know why I wasn't thinking of this. My friend Kayla, she goes to Harvard and she's going to pros residency. She's in the Air Force HPSP program. So that goes to say there are options for you to specialize if you are a part of the HPSP scholarship program, but you would just have to look into it. I know a lot of people, when it comes to these scholarship programs, a lot of their questions are, will I be able to specialize? There's definitely still the opportunity to specialize even after you do your payback. You can go on to specialize in something. I know someone personally that did the Navy program, just finished paying back their 4 years, and now he's going into orthodontic residency. So it is possible. There were a few things that you mentioned that spiked some questions that I wanted to ask. I guess number one being, is there a pay difference in the AGD or GPR versus the credentialing tour?
To my knowledge, no. And the interesting thing is that you can actually figure out how much you're going to get paid. Just anyone can if you go online and look up military pay calculator and you enter a couple of criteria. So in the Navy, and I'm sure the other branches too, you enter as a 03, like a third level officer. So we're a lieutenant in the Navy. So you enter 03, less than 2 years of experience, and then you just have to put the zip code of the base that you're going to be stationed at, and then that calculates how much your salary will be. And so because those criteria are the same, like the residency doesn't affect those three criteria. You know what I mean? So as far as I know, the pay would be the same. Actually, that number they spit out, again, to my knowledge, you get another $20,000 of special pay if you pass your boards in dental school.
Oh, okay.
So whatever number they spit out, add $20K to it, and that would be your expected salary, whether or not you're a resident. And then obviously each year, as you gain more years of experience, I think it probably goes up. And part of the military salary is tied to your zip code based on how expensive it is to live in that area. So I know I have a friend who's going to be in Chicago next year, north of Chicago, and I'm going to be in Southern California. So my housing allowance is a little bit higher than his. That just because of the rent I'm going to have to pay is a little more.
And so I just thought of what one of my other questions were, and this is some knowledge that I have from talking to Kayla as well. Do you have to do basic training when you graduate dental school before entering the military? Do you postpone that if you're doing the GPR, AGD? Do you do that immediately if you're doing the credentialing touring? How does that work?
Yeah, so once we graduate, the first thing we have to do is called Officer Development School, which isn't exactly analogous to basic training because we are enlisting as officers, and specifically as the doctors, dentists, even lawyers probably, they all have a different kind of training than other people would. So we have, and I don't know if it's 46, 45, 56, whatever days, 8 weeks training in Newport, Rhode Island. It's called Officer Development School. Once we graduate from that, appears to be another specific like Navy medicine training in Bethesda, which is outside of DC.
Yep.
And then after that, then we get stationed where we're stationed. So the interesting thing is, we're, like Eli said, about 43 days away from graduating, and I've been assigned my station, but I've not been assigned my date to start that officer development school yet. So, if you take this scholarship and you're excited and everything, and don't get too nervous about not getting those orders. Like, I mean, it's still April, and I still don't know when I'm starting. Technically, it could be in June, it could be in July. But yeah, that's essentially the format. Is there's a couple of trainings you have to do before going to your station, and that's the same if you're doing credentialing or residency. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we can talk a little bit about your thought process, why you decided to go with AEGD versus a credentialing tour. And if you want, you can touch on why you chose AEGD versus GPR, but I feel like, that's a more general question.
Sure. Yeah, so basically, when I was deciding, my thought process kind of came down like this. Kind of going into school, I was interested in being probably a general dentist that does Invisalign. And then as I got more exposed to it, I thought maybe I would specialize in ortho. And then even in the last year or so, I started to like endo a lot more. And so with the military, they do have specialty spots. Again, unless you go right away, which is rare, you typically apply to those after your 4 years of payback. That being said, if you're going to do that 4 years of payback and apply for specialty within the military, from what I've heard, they're going to look at whether you did that 1 year residency or not. And they're going to look at you more favorably if you have done that, because it's kind of shown that you're like committed to the military. You don't want to just do the 4 and out. You actually have a stake in the game. So for me, I kind of weighed, okay, this is 1 extra year, but if that opens the door for me down the line, if I want to stay in and specialize, I think I could take that extra year and keep that option open. Like, I'm not committed to that, I may just leave after the 5, but I didn't want to close that door right away. And the interesting thing is, I got into contact through mutual contacts with people who are Navy endodontists and orthodontists. And when I was talking to the orthodontist, 2 out of 3 of them didn't do the residency. And they said, just do your 4 and get out. But I think that's because, as an orthodontist, I think they have like 1 spot a year in the Navy. Like, it's not a common thing because obviously there's not a lot of children in the Navy. Like, the orthodontists are typically stationed abroad, where there's dependents of the members who are at the bases and everything. So ortho is not that common. However, endo, there is more of a need for that, and they have more spots for endo. So now that I was considering endo, it does seem to make more sense. I think even outside of the military, they want the 1 year, typically. I mean, unless you're great, I guess. But so that was kind of the thought process. It's not that I'm saying that like I'm gunning to be a specialist, but it's the idea of that if I think about it and with more time and everything, if that's something I want to do, I wanted to keep that option open, and I felt like taking that residency would put me in a better position than otherwise. Yeah.
For sure. And I was just thinking about, I was talking with Iman off camera, and I was telling him about how my residency program keeps 1 non-match spot for a HPSP scholarship recipient after they've done their payback. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not 100% sure if they have to wait until they're finished with their payback, because when I was interviewing there, of course, since there's 1 spot for every year, there was a first year and a second year, and I was talking to them just kind of about what their plans were when they finished the residency. And one of them actually told me that he's already been told that he was going to be stationed in Japan, and he'd be on the base taking care essentially of military people and their children. So like you mentioned, like there's not a lot of children, but they may put you somewhere overseas on a base and you take care of the whole families, etc. So yeah, there's definitely, this all ties back into the theme that you're not so limited when you come out of school just because you got this scholarship and you signed a contract, etc. And I think that there's a lot of taboo around it, especially because it's the military. People are like, oh, it's super strict. You sign that contract. Basically, they're like, I signed my life away. Or at least that's what they think before they sign the contract. Like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this money, sign my life away to the military for X years, and I'm just going to be a general dentist because I don't have any other options. So I think this video is very important when it comes to discussing that and letting people know that your options are very much open, etc. So I think for the last part of the video, we can kind of reflect on your last 4 years in dental school and, going all the way back to the beginning. Are you happy with your choice with taking the military scholarship? Do you feel like it genuinely supported you and kind of lightened your burden in dental school, especially when it comes to finances. You know, a lot of us, we don't want to have another thing to worry about. We have plenty to worry about here.
Of course, yeah.
You know, so it's always great to not only have your school paid for, but to get that monthly stipend. You don't have to worry about where your rent money is going to come from, or, you know, some food money. You know, Boston's a little more expensive, so the stipend might not cover everything, but most things at least. So are you happy with your decision? And for anyone that's watching this video that may be considering the scholarship, because like you mentioned, you don't have to apply before dental school. You might do 1 year of dental school and then apply. You know, what's your advice to people who are kind of on the fence about it?
Yeah. Obviously, you know, I would have a more complete analysis after I do my time serving. But just speaking on my experience in dental school, like what Eli said is 100% correct about, you know, dental school is stressful enough. You have so much stuff to worry about, you know, patients, classes, etc. And being able to have that financial burden lessened or lifted completely is truly a blessing. I mean, it really helps you focus on like what other stuff that's important. So I am very, very fortunate and grateful for that. Now, I just wanted to touch too about before the last question. You know, even if you want to specialize with or without the military, like I've talked to like Dr. Zyme, our endodontics professor, and he was saying that like, you know, even if you want to leave and separate and then specialize, like they look at being a part of military like super fondly.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So yeah, I mean, it's, you know, if you give back the 4 years of general dentist and then you can go right into specialty. So sorry to get off track.
No,
I just wanted to add that in.
Yeah, very important.
Yeah, no, so I am very grateful for it. I do feel like it's allowed me to, again, like have less of a focus on the financial and focus more on dental school. And I mean, I'm pretty fortunate to kind of go where I want to go next year, which is Southern California, which is going to be great.
Nice
and if you
sunny.
think about it, like, yeah, if you think about it, you know, medical students, they have to do like a long residency, right, to specialize. So, like, I kind of feel like we're doing, that's like our residency, you know, the 4-year payback, and, you know, you leave when you're 30, 31, and, or you stay, whatever you want to do. But, yeah, no, I mean, I'm very happy with my decision, and I wouldn't trade it. The other thing I would say is, you know, obviously in the military you're going to get paid less than you would outside, maybe, especially after like the first year or two. But you have to remember that otherwise, unless you could pay for dental school, you know, you might be having a couple $100,000 of debt or more. So let's say you're $400,000 in debt, divide that by 4, you know, you can pretty much just add that to your Navy salary. So the way I look at it is like the number I'm making, add 100 to it, and then I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, you know, I'm not complaining. So
everyone else that's making more, their pockets are getting chewed paying back that debt. You know. So one last thing, I remember in my post-bacc program, like they had I think it was Air Force or maybe Army representatives come talk to us, and they mentioned something about after you're done your 4 years paying back of active duty, you can do like reserves for, I think maybe it was 20 years or so, and then you can collect your retirement money or something like that. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, as far as I know, I mean, I don't know too much about it, but as far as I know, it is 20 years, and you can collect a pension, and I think that's like half your salary for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what it is. But yeah, I think in any case, after you do your 4 years of active, you do owe another 4 years in reserves.
Okay.
And that could either be inactive reserves or active reserves. And I think the benefit of the active reserves is that you still get to keep like the military health care, whatever, but you might commit like 1 weekend a month or something.
Yeah.
I'm not too refreshed on it, but like that's kind of the breakdown. And yeah, so I think most people would opt for the inactive probably, but those are the two options. And yeah, so that's the idea. Like if you want to do military, and even if you want to just stay active for that 20 years and then you can collect that pension, that's one. I mean, the thing is, I think about the military that's great is that whatever route you choose, like you want to stay in 4, get out, you want to stay in 20 and collect the pension, like it is kind of liberating to know that, you know, you finish dental school, you become a dentist, and after however long you serve, like you do have a lot of options ahead of you. Like you're able to take that 4 or 5 years, whatever it is, you know, get better at the craft, because, you know, when you leave dental school, you know, there's more to fill in. There's more gaps to fill in.
There's more practice needed still.
Yeah. So you get to, you know, spread your wings in the military, and then whatever you want to do after that, options are kind of wide open. So it is a little bit of delayed gratification, but I'm certainly looking forward to the journey, and I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we covered just about everything that I wanted to cover in the video. If you have any parting words that you'd like to say on camera, I know that you're open to emails
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so I'll leave your email in the description if people want to contact you asking questions about the military scholarship, because I get questions every year.
Sure.
You know, there's always a new batch of people,
Yeah.
and I always refer them to you. I'm here on Sundays when they do the admissions days, and I've told you before, like, someone's asking.
Yeah, no, well, thank you so much for having me, Eli.
Of course.
I appreciate the opportunity. And everyone out there thinking about it, you know, I mean, it is a big decision, and, you know, there are some trade-offs to it. But if I can be of any help, of course, Eli said he'll put my email in the description, and I'll also give, like, my Instagram handle so people can message me if they want to do that as well. Obviously, we don't know what the next 5 years are going to hold. I'm looking forward to it tremendously, and I hope it works out well. But I'm excited. 43 days left. Like, I'm excited to move. Like, I've had enough time in Boston and Montreal. I think it's time to get out of California. Yeah, it'll be fun. So,
hey, well, you never know. 5 years down the line, we may have to get another follow-up video. Get your full experience after you're done paying back. I mean, even if we have to do it on like FaceTime or Zoom, the possibilities are endless, you know. But
if you'll have me, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, I think it's very important for people to, you know, follow that journey and just get the whole picture. They can see how you felt about D1 year, how you feel about it now that you're about to graduate, and then how you feel about it once you're done with your active duty commitment or whatever it might be, and what you may be thinking about doing after that. You know, at that point, you might have decided, like, I'm going to go for ortho or go for endo or whatever it is you want to do. And, you know, just keep those doors open and let people know these are the options you have, and this is what you can do if you stick through it. And, I mean, it is honestly a great deal. Dental school is getting more expensive by the year, and if that is a way that people want to cover their dental school expenses, it's a great way to do it. And it alleviates a lot of the burden, like you said, not only during dental school, but after, you know. So, yeah, if there's nothing left to say, thank you, Iman, for being a part of this video. I greatly appreciate it. You know, I love giving the information to the pre-dents straight from the sources. I'd rather they get it from you than from Reddit or Student Doctor Network or other people that don't really know what they're talking about.
Toxic cesspools.
Yeah. So, thank you everyone for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you watched all the way through and you're not subscribed yet. Check out some of my dental school vlogs and all the other 300 videos that are currently on my channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Subscribe and watch. Best channel on YouTube right there.
Yes, sir. Peace, guys.
Thank you.
I told her stop telling that thing she seen and told me at the Ritz. Let's go. I got baguettes in the back of my ring and I went trying to